Now, it feels like hundreds of times I've walked down this very path, and it really doesn't matter whether Coventry City are doing well, Coventry City are doing bad, rain, shine, night and day, there's one consistent thing I complain about, and that is a bigger problem than you may think. In 1992, in the creation of the Premier League, the biggest incentive for the clubs involved was the financial element. Due to the increase of eyes on all these clubs involved in this Premier League, Sky Sports TV deal would be absolutely massive for English football. And at that point in time, Sky were the only company with the television rights for the Premier League, meaning if you wanted to watch the Premier League and not be in the stadium, you had to be subscribed to Sky Sports. But things have changed now, and if you haven't gathered already, you might gather along the video. Not for the better. However, Sky Sports will make you want to think something different. This season, over 275 Premier League games will be on Sky Sports. Over 1,000 EFL games will be on Sky Sports, plus games in the Carabao Cup and the Virtue Trophy as well. And you get all of that for around about £30 a month. However, let's say you're a fan of a Premier League club and you want to watch every single game. Sky no longer exclusively have the rights. Let's say your club do well in the FA Cup, a couple of games are played on the BBC, you're going to need to pay for a TV licence, that's £14 a month. Maybe they're in the Champions League, then you're going to need TNT Sports, who also have some rights for the Premier League games, but the Champions League's the best thing they're really selling, that's £20 a month. Oh, and Amazon Prime, yes, Amazon, you know that thing that used to be online bookshop, that's £9 a month because they also playing Premier League games. So that's around £75 a month. And let's say you're interested in Scottish football, that's another £10 a month with Premier Sports. Things quickly add up, and that's just for a month of watching football in the UK, legally anyway. A sport labelled the working class game has never been further from that working class. Absolute alien from what the pioneers in Sheffield had in the 1860s. Football in the modern day has become nothing more than a disease. You've got La Liga and Serie A games being played in Australia, pre-season tournaments happening the other side of the world, usually featuring teams from the Middle East, and before we even go on to that, World Cups happening in the Middle East. Yeah, for £75 a month, there's not even a guarantee that you're going to be able to watch your team's games every single week. Yes, after all that malarkey signing up for and paying all these TV bills month after month after month, every single Saturday at 3 p.m, there's not one single game of English football on TV. And the worst part about that is most games historically, up until I'd say the past 10 years, have always been 3 p.m. kickoffs. In fact, this place behind me, it's starting to become a little bit of a running joke when I say 3 o'clock on a Saturday, because usually I've left that place by now. This is all because of a law known as the 3 p.m. blackout, and this was introduced in the 1960s to help benefit the lower league clubs and get better crowds at them games. Something I am all for, by the way. I am all for going to watch lower league football, and in fact, in this video, I'm going to do just that. My club, Coventry City, who play in the Championship currently, the second division of English football, are also part of the 3 p.m. blackout thing, meaning Coventry City cannot play on TV at 3 p.m. This is exactly why all of our games on Sky Sports, even Sky Sports Plus, not even on a channel, you just have to be part of a subscription base, get moved to 12:30. In fact, a little bit of a cheeky plug, if you like Championship content, then go and check out my latest podcast that I've just started with Jonah Fatcat, Below the Prem podcast. It's going to be mainly focusing on Championship football, so if you're not already, go and check that out. So you think, what about the leagues below that, League 1 and League 2? Well, League 1 and League 2 are also part of the 3 p.m. blackout cloud. That's the third and fourth tier of English football. Surely that's classed as the lower leagues of English football. So then what about the league below that, the fifth tier of English football? Now at this level, not every club's professional. In fact, there's some clubs that have never ever played professional football ever. But then even they're part of the 3 p.m. blackout. Okay, the sixth tier of English football, the National League North and South. Surely they are safe. Nope. The Zone also have the National League North and South. Now at this stage in the video, you might be thinking, okay, Alex, you could literally go on forever, and I kind of can. Now, of course, football in the sixth tier of English football, being on TV, is great exposure for these part-time clubs. There's no denying that, but yet football at that level relies on people turning up, not exactly tuning in. How much of that DAZN money is really, really going to benefit these clubs when gates are going down and down and down? Now, if you're still watching this video, thank you. Subscribe if you're enjoying it, because I'm now going on to the seventh tier, where they're now trialling a new streaming service called Trident. Of course, this is a massive advantage for fans that live far, far away because they're able to obviously watch games. For a lot of local fans, it might push them away. It might be the cheaper option. Fans aren't going to have to turn up to watch their local team anymore. And that gets even worse, especially with ticket prices going up and up and up year on year. £45 to watch Coventry City versus Birmingham City in the Championship was the going rate for an adult, and it's the same for all Category A+ games here at the CBS. So after all of that, what is the answer? Well, really, even I don't know. Maybe you get rid of the 3 PM blackout. That's a brilliant idea, especially because it's a rule that was brought in the 60s, and Premier League tickets now are harder to get than they ever have been before anyway. Realistically, would crowds drop in the Championship, League 1 and League 2 that much if the 3 PM blackout was completely scrapped? I don't think so. And to speak about the lower leagues, there needs to be a lot more money there. There needs to be a lot more people going out, supporting their local team, back in local football. I myself watch a lot of my local team, Coventry Sphinx. When Coventry City aren't playing and I'm not at whatever game I'm going to, I'm at Coventry Sphinx. Sphinx play in the 8th tier of English football, step 4 of non-league, a club mainly ran through volunteers, and in recent years have been pretty successful. Yet even at that level, in the past 3 years, 3 teams have gone bust and folded. Walsall Wood, Hinckley Leicester Road and Loughborough Dynamo were all struggling financially at that level. Now, if them clubs had been part of some sort of streaming deal that brought in some extra revenue, would they have survived? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But that is beyond the point, because these non-league clubs and the money that these leagues have compared to those Premier League teams at the very, very top. And that is why I have come here to a team in the 11th tier of English football, completely flipping the switch. I mean, we're an hour away from kickoff, but this is a little scary. But either way, welcome to Bowhall Swifts. This is a team in the 11th tier of English football, and this is the lowest tier of football I could possibly go to tonight, especially considering at this level, by the way, it's not compulsory that you even have floodlights. Have a little look at the benches in this old stand here. I'll have a look at this stand as well. This is proper unique. Reminds me a bit of a driving range, but I'm really not sure what this was ever meant to be. Now, this ground was originally an allotment, and the guy that owned it sold it to Bowhall Swifts for £350. It was then turned into what we have today, Rennie Road Football Ground. Well, then here we are, 7:30 on a Tuesday night in the north of Tamworth. We're here for the big game between Bowhall Swifts and Paget Rangers. Now, of course, in this video, I've spoken about the very pinnacle of professional football in England. And to compare it to this level, it is completely night and day. That is the worst looking huddle I've ever seen. There's like 3 of them doing the laces up. But I want to go back to the point I made very early on in this video about football being the working class game. And well, this right here is exactly what I mean when I say the working class game. Players playing for pride and passion, not fashion. Spectators lined up just inches away from the pitch. Even the man on the stepladder getting a better view than me for his video. Can't do this in the Premier League. Goal kick. Have a look at that. So, I'm sure I've convinced some of you, definitely not everyone, because non-league football simply isn't for everyone. Some people want to go and see the big stars on the big stage, but grassroots football is totally where it's at. So if you don't go and support your local team, definitely go and do it. Because for less than a sausage roll at Everton's fancy new stadium, which I love, by the way, I've got a night out watching the football, knowing that at this level, my £5 entry will go a lot further than in the professional game. And if I haven't convinced you yet, I might be able to convince you here. Referees at this level are absolutely terrible. I'll see you in the next one.